Hello gainers, Ralphie here with some fitter philosophy, sharing the fitness, sharing the philosophy that helps me get fitter, and hoping that that fitter philosophy sharing will help you with yours. It's one of the most important things we can do in life for one another, is to share thoughts and perspectives without being overly judgmental, and always being prepared to change the subject and perhaps even change our opinion if it is merited. There is nothing worse than someone who will not change the subject because they can't change their mind. They become, unfortunately, a crashing bore. But even worse than that, people just don't listen to them, anything they have to say, and therefore any sensible message they might have just gets lost. And something I was thinking about recently that I want to share with you, and it was the value of human life. What is the value of our lives? We're that busy living them, getting on with life, earning the money to pay the bills, to make our way. So I went online to a big search engine, there's a few to choose from, and I put in the question, what is a human life worth? And the answer I got back in the first page of the searches was basically £50,000, $70,000, 60,000 euros. Calculate it in your own currency. But the way the question tends to be interpreted when it's generalised is in terms of financial currency reference. And this, of course, is a false reading. It's mainly insurers, they've got very good reason to put a monetary value in a human life. But in fact, there's various values, monetary values you could impose on human beings. If they're unproductive, if they're a cost or burden to the society, you could devalue their worth. If they happen to be educated, intelligent, contributing or manufacturing wealth, creating wealth, employing people, you could apply more money. But it doesn't really answer the question. Because the whole point is, what is a human life worth without us using currency or money as a point of reference? And that's a much, much better way of looking at that question, because all currency is Ponzi. It's artificially manipulated, and it's basically a concise tool by which the elite control the masses. And I'm not judging in this, gainers. It's real life. It's the practicalities of the human condition. And one of the skills is to recognise it, accept it, and then get on with it and make the most of our lives as we can with the resources we have. And this is where creativity comes in. Are we creative? Are we industrious, perhaps? Are we inventive? Are we artistic? Are we scientific? This is where our value as humans starts to become more significant. It's not so much what we are as simple human beings, it's what we contribute to the world around us and the society in which we live. And that's where the value of human life becomes much more important. And you'll notice that cleaners, for example, people who do essential jobs in society to keep an environment clean, because if it's dirty, it increases the risk of ill health in the societal collective. So cleaners are actually very important people, although they're not particularly well rewarded financially. And you may find that certain managers are very well rewarded, but it's well recognised that 70% of all managers are completely ineffective in their task, and their job could be done by, well, other people by and large, unless they've got special knowledge, unless they've got particular personal attributes that make them competent and successful and eventful as a manager. But when we look at the value of people, that's when it's much easier to put a value in human life. And the people who contribute to society, often going unnoticed, unmentioned, and poorly rewarded. These are valuable people because it's not that we want them, it's because we need them. The hospital workers, the teachers, the street sweepers, the window cleaners, the painters and decorators, plumbers and electricians. These are the genuinely productive people that create and look after and maintain the fabric of cohesive society. And then the further up you go, generally the less effective people become. And that's partly so as they're not a challenge to the people above them. There's a well-known saying that you will always promote a manager one step beyond the level of their ability, so they're always slightly incompetent but not too dangerous. It's very true. Quite a stoic observation. But the value of human life comes down to what we do with our lives. It's not the value that we impose on other people. It's the value that we generate for ourselves. That's the most important value of human life. But that is the nano value, the individual value. I would conclude by saying that there's the macro value of human life, which very rarely gets talked about. And when you look towards the future and have the chance to chat to science fiction writers who are always very, very interesting people because they're already predicting the future with some degree of accuracy if they're good writers. But what you'll find is that the macro value of humans is far more valuable than is ever mentioned, because humanoid, and I mean human as in earth human context, let's get that clear. But in Earth-human context, this species is confined to one planet. There may be a few billion individuals, but frankly, that's a small number in the scheme of things. So you're talking a single planet, micro entity, very small, very few, so that collectively human life is really very important. And if it's properly valued collectively, there would be far less tangible reasons to go around killing people and bumping people off, such as the human habit. And I'm not talking about wars. There's many other ways that bumping people off happens when you think about it. There you go. I think that's quite enough for one vlog. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope you'll join me shortly for another Ralphie bit of fitter philosophy. That's what it is. Now, if you don't mind, I'm going to join you and enjoy this very fine view of a late winter afternoon sunshine.